Would you believe me if I told you that nearly every death after age 75 comes down to just a handful of causes? Most people think dying at an old age is just part of the natural process. But the truth is, a huge chunk of these deaths are actually caused by risks that could have been avoided. And the craziest part, most of these risks go unnoticed for years. People don't take them seriously, not until something goes really wrong. And by the time they realize what's happening, their health is already hanging by a thread and their options are way more limited. But here's the good news: if you start recognizing these risks now, you can take steps to protect yourself and maybe even live way longer and healthier than you ever expected. In this video, we're breaking down the 5 main reasons behind almost all deaths in people over 75. Some of them you might have heard before. Some might surprise the hell out of you. But make no mistake, knowing what they are is the first, most important step to stopping them. This isn't just some boring list of stats. Every number you'll hear represents real people, real families, and real choices, some that saved lives, others that cost them. And those choices, they shape whether someone gets to enjoy life or spends their final years fighting one health problem after another. So yeah, this stuff matters a lot. Some folks wait too long and lose their shot at a good life. Others make small, smart moves and end up adding years, sometimes decades, to their lives. Just remember these 5. Dangers aren't fate, and the choices you make today, they'll decide how strong, active, and independent you'll be in the years ahead. Alright, let's get into it. 1. Heart disease. George is 76. He used to teach high school history, spent decades standing in front of a blackboard. Now he lives in a quiet neighborhood with his wife, Mary. Lately, he's been getting winded just climbing the stairs. Mornings feel like a battle just to get out of bed, but like a lot of folks his age, he chalked it up to getting old. Not 25 anymore, he'd say with a shrug. But here's the truth: what George was feeling wasn't just age catching up, it was his heart waving a red flag. Like most people, George didn't realize how weak his heart had gotten until one night he felt a tight pain in his chest and ended up in the air. That's when the doctor told him the part that really hit home: this didn't happen overnight. It's been building up for years and it could have been prevented. See, your heart's a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs to be worked and taken care of. George had spent years in a chair, not exercising, eating whatever was quick and easy, and that heart muscle, it was tired, overworked, and out of shape. Feeling slower, out of breath, low on energy, these aren't just normal aging, they're signs your heart's asking for help. And it wasn't just a lack of movement. George's diet, full of salty snacks, greasy food, and takeout. Over time, his arteries got clogged up, making his heart push harder than it should have. But what really stuck with him was what the doctor said next. George, it's not just about cutting out the bad stuff. You've got to feed your heart the good stuff too. So now, George starts every morning walking 20 minutes with Mary for lunch. He swapped fried chicken for grilled salmon. He keeps it simple, but he keeps it moving. And then there was the high blood pressure. For years, he brushed it off. My pressure's always been a little high, but high blood pressure, it's sneaky. No pain, no symptoms. Until boom, a stroke, a heart attack, and everything changes. These days, George takes his meds on time, checks his pressure at home, and even signed up for a weekly yoga class. No, he's not running marathons, but he's moving. And that movement, it's keeping him stronger and happier, because your heart was never built to sit still all day. George's story is a reminder. Heart disease isn't destiny. Just because someone in your family had a heart attack doesn't mean you're next. What you eat, how you move, how you handle stress, they're all choices, and those choices, they shape how long and how well your heart keeps going. Or like George says now, I wish I'd known this sooner, but I'm glad I know it now. Bottom line, your heart's in your hands. And the best time to start taking care of it is right now. 2. Falls and injuries. Eleanor is 79. She's always been tough, sharp, and living on her own terms. But last year, one slip in the kitchen changed everything. A slick floor, a quick misstep. And just like that, her independence, freedom to move, even living in her own home, all of it was on the line. See, most people think of falls as just accidents, but once you're past 75, the biggest threat to your health isn't a disease, it's a fall. Yep. One bad fall can flip your whole life upside down. A broken hip, a knock to the head, even a harmless bruise can spiral into a major crisis real fast. And the scariest part, you don't realize how vulnerable you are until it's too late. Easer was out with her grandkid the day before, grocery shopping, chatting at the park, felt totally fine. But the next morning, she tripped on the edge of a rug and woke up in the air. Here's a wild stat for you. Falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death. In older adults, millions of seniors head to the emergency room every year because of them, and for most, that first fall. It marks the beginning of a long, hard road. Eleanor was stuck in bed for 3 months. Her muscles got weak, her mood tanked, and her confidence to live alone took a major hit. Still, so many people don't take falls seriously, not until they or someone they love hits the ground. As we age, our balance, strength, and reflexes slowly fade. It's such a slow process, you don't even notice. Eleanor sure didn't, until that one slip in the bathroom changed everything. It didn't stop there. After the fall, she got scared, stopped going on walks, avoided stairs, wouldn't even step outside into the yard. But less movement just made her weaker, and weaker muscles meant she was even more likely to fall again. That's how the cycle starts. Now for the good news, that cycle. It can be broken. Falls are not destiny. Eleanor's back on her feet, literally. She goes to physical therapy now, does exercises to strengthen her legs and core. She made smart upgrades around the house, grab bars in the hallway, non-slip rugs, brighter lights. Those changes may sound small, but they make a huge difference. They can be the line between staying independent and losing your freedom. Oh, and about meds. Turns out her blood pressure pills were making her dizzy sometimes. She didn't even connect the dots until her doctor pointed it out. So if you've ever stood up too fast and felt lightheaded, that's your body saying, hey, pay attention. Talking to your doc, checking your meds, making sure nothing's messing with your balance. It can literally save your life, because falling isn't just about tripping. It's about staying strong, steady, and aware. The little things matter more than you think, and after 75, one fall can change everything. But simple steps you take today, they can give you years of freedom, mobility, and a better quality of life. If you're still watching and getting something useful out of this, drop a pound 2 in the comments so we know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell. Your support helps us keep making videos like this. 3. Breathing issues. Harold's 81. He spent his life working at the post office, waking up early every morning without fail. Even in retirement, he stayed active, picking up his grandkids from school, messing around in his little garden. But lately, things changed. He got winded faster while walking. Climbing stairs felt like a marathon. He chalked it up to age. I mean, come on, who sprints at 80? He'd laugh, but that shortness of breath turned into a non-stop cough. Then came the wheezing at night, tightness in the chest. Something wasn't right. Here's the thing most people miss: just because you're older doesn't mean struggling to breathe is normal. Breathing is something you don't think about until it gets hard, and once it does, it can go downhill fast. Harold's doctor diagnosed him with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. He never smoked, but years of breathing in secondhand smoke, dusty air, and city fumes caught up to him. Cough's sneaky, it creeps in slow, narrowing airways over time. That cough, that tired feeling, the raspy breath, that wasn't just age. It was Harold's lungs waving a white flag. And then there was pneumonia. Used to be, Harold could shake off a cold like nothing. But last winter, a little sniffle turned into full-blown chest congestion. Next thing he knew, he was in the hospital. Diagnosis: pneumonia. For the first time in his life, Harold truly understood what it meant to not be able to breathe. As you age, your immune system doesn't bounce back the way it used to. A simple cold can flip into something dangerous fast. For a lot of seniors, pneumonia isn't just serious. It's the start of a bigger decline, but that's not the only problem. Let's talk about air quality. Harold spent most of his life in a downtown apartment. Car fumes, dust, old carpets, pet dander, all of it messing with his breathing. He didn't even notice it was a problem until things got bad. Now, he's made changes. He uses an air purifier, keeps windows open for fresh air, switched to curtains that don't trap dust, and yep, the cat sleeps outside the bedroom now. Small stuff, right? But it made a huge difference. And here's something else folks don't talk about enough: your lungs need exercise too. Harold started walking again every morning. Nothing crazy, just a steady pace, deep breathing, getting the air moving, because sitting around all day, that slows down your lungs, lets gunk build up, and makes you way more likely to get sick. And don't even get Harold started on vaccines. He used to brush them off like they were no big deal. Now he's first in line for his flu and pneumonia shots every year. His doctor told him straight up, this isn't just a sniffle, Harold. This could be the thing that puts you in a hospital bed or worse. One little shot could mean the difference between a rough week and a life-threatening crisis. Now Harold's breathing easier and living smarter. He always says a breathing shouldn't feel like a battle, it should feel like freedom, and he's right. Your lungs are working 24/7 to keep you going. Taking care of them, strengthening them, protecting them is one of the smartest things you can do. 4. Stroke the silent game changer. Dolores is 82. She spent her whole life as a nurse, taking care of others with everything she had. Even after retirement, she stayed active, hit her book club, went on regular walks, kept her brain and body moving. Then one morning last spring, while sipping her coffee, she suddenly couldn't lift her right arm. Her mouth drooped slightly. She tried to speak, but the words got stuck. She didn't fully grasp what was happening, but her years of experience kicked in. She called 911 on instinct. The doctors told her she'd had a mini stroke, a TIA, or transient ischemic attack. It passed quickly, but it changed everything. See, strokes hit fast, no warning, no warm up, and once they hit, your life might never be the same. Strokes are one of the top causes of death after 75, but here's the wild part. About 80% of strokes are actually preventable. When Dollars heard that stat, she got mad. Why didn't I know this earlier? She said, I would have made changes way sooner. A stroke happens when a blood clot suddenly blocks flow to your brain or a blood vessel bursts. And the brain, it doesn't play around. Every second without oxygen means brain cells start dying. And once they're gone, they're gone. Some strokes are mild. You might slur a word or feel weakness in an arm. But others, they'll take away your ability to speak, to move, to live independently. And yeah, many strokes end lives. Just like that, Dolores' doc told her the pound one risk factor, high blood pressure, all those years of silent pressure on her arteries, they weakened. And when they give out, it's either a clog or a blowout. Either one can be deadly. Worst part, high blood pressure rarely has symptoms. People go years thinking they're fine until one side of their body suddenly won't move. Another silent killer, irregular heart rhythm, especially a thing called atrial fibrillation. Afib Dolores had felt her heart flutter now and then, but brushed it off. Turns out when your heart beats out of sync, blood can pool, form a clot, and boom, straight to your brain. But here's the upside. Most of this can be caught early with just a simple check-up, and once spotted, it can be managed, massively lowering your risk. But let's not stop there. Dolores had a major weakness, fast food. Now, her fridge looks totally different. Leafy greens, berries, unsalted nuts. She cut back the salt, drinks water like it's her job, and never skips her morning walk. Because sitting around thickens your blood, slows your circulation, and raises your clot risk. Tangent changes, finishing a water bottle, ditching the salt shaker, walking 15 minutes a day, they stack up and they matter. That mini stroke, it scared Dollars enough to turn things around. But she says it all the time, I wish I didn't have to live through it to understand how serious this is. And that's the whole point. You don't have to wait. Check your blood pressure, clean up your eating, move your body, and don't ignore your body's warning signs ever, because stroke risk, it's in your hands. The decisions you make today could shape not just how long you live, but how you live. 5. Cognitive decline, when the mind starts slipping away. Walter is 85, retired mechanical engineer, spent his life crunching numbers, designing systems, always the guy with a plan. But lately, the sharpness started to fade. He'd forget mid-sentence what he was saying, keys ended up in the fridge, and one day he blanked on his own grandson's name. At first, he just laughed it off. Hey, you try remembering everything after 85, he'd joke. But deep down, he knew something was off. That's the brutal part of aging. Most people don't want to talk about your mind slowly drifting away. Cognitive decline doesn't hit like a truck, it creeps in. You forget a name today, tomorrow it's a doctor's appointment. Then one day, you leave the stove on, or forget to lock the door at night. For Walter, the wake-up call came when his wife found him outside in pajamas trying to get to the store just down the street, but he couldn't remember how to get there. Conditions like dementia and Alzheimer, as done to just mess with your memory. They put your entire health at risk. Because eventually, you can't take care of yourself anymore. You forget your meds, you don't drink enough water, you skip meals or overeat without realizing. Walter's doctor figured it out when he came in dehydrated, lightheaded, and totally out of it. He hadn't had water in days. And then there's the real danger: accidents, leaving burners on, wandering outside alone, losing your way home. As the mind slips, the risks multiply. Walter didn't want help at first, but he had to face the truth. Living alone wasn't safe anymore. So within a few months, his body and mood both took a hit. The scariest part, most people don't even realize it's happening not until things get really bad. Mixing up names, struggling in conversations, losing track of stuff. It gets brushed off as just getting old, but it's not. Those are the brain's early warning signs, whispering, hey, something's changing. Here's the good news, you can slow it down, even push it back. Walter's doctor gave him a new game plan: mental exercises, social interaction, and a better diet. Now he reads the newspaper every morning, plays chess with his grandson, crushes Sudoku puzzles. He's learning new stuff, stretching his brain, keeping the gears turning. Because just like muscles, your brain gets stronger the more you use it. But don't forget your body. Physical exercise is just as critical for your mind. Walking, stretching, even dancing, it gets blood flowing to your brain, more oxygen, better focus, better memory. Walter also meets up with friends twice a week. They sip tea, swap stories, argue over the news, and that connection, it's brain fuel. Loneliness speeds up decline, friendship slows it down. And the fuel your brain runs on, that's your diet. Walter now fills his plate with brain food. Salmon, blueberries, walnuts, leafy greens. He cut out sugar, fried junk, and ultra-processed stuff. Because inflammation in the brain, that's a fast track to dementia. But clean eating and an active life, they can seriously reduce your risk. Walter's story makes one thing crystal clear: cognitive decline is not inevitable. The little choices you make today can shape how clear your thinking stays and how independent you'll be down the road. Just remember, Samber, your brain's a muscle. Use it, challenge it, take care of it, and it'll take care of you. Final thoughts, real talk before we go. Now that we've reached the end, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. We kicked off with heart disease, talked about falls and injuries, covered the dangers of breathing issues, dug deep into stroke risks, and wrapped our heads around cognitive decline. These 5 heavy hitters, they're behind nearly every death after 75. But here's the thing, they're not a life sentence. Most folks don't realize just how much power they have over their own health, and sadly, that realization often shows up after the damage is done. But the truth is this: you can absolutely add more years to your life, and better yet, more life to your years by making small, consistent changes starting now. Maver was a aging isn't something people like to talk about, but pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. In fact, ignoring it makes everything worse. So here's your power move. Pay attention. Stay informed. Start giving your health the respect it deserves. This ain't about living in fear. This is about living with intention. You don't have to settle for limits. You can aim for strength, clarity, and years packed with memories. So take a second. Look at your daily routine. Where could you clean it up just a little? Maybe your plate needs more greens. Maybe you could squeeze in a short walk every day. Maybe it's time to schedule that check-up you've been putting off. Or call up a friend and get back out there socially. Whatever it is, just remember this: you don't need to change everything overnight. Sometimes one small step in the right direction is enough to kick off a whole new chapter. Right now, your greatest asset is your health. And the more you protect it, the more time you get with the people you love. Real meaningful time. You stay independent. You live without fear. And you don't let your body call the shots. You do. Every single day is a new chance to take care of yourself. And what you choose today, that decides who you'll be tomorrow. Hey, thanks for sticking with us all the way to the end. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell us one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your own life. Your words matter. They inspire us and push us to keep making content that's real and helpful. If you found value here, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share this with someone who needs it. Your support, that's what fuels this whole thing. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.